Are you looking for more out of your life? Do you need ideas on how to start new businesses and how to move forward in your own personal life? Well, guess what? You have come to the right radio show. At You Can Overcome Anything podcast show, you will learn and hear from many people from all walks of life who are sharing their challenges, their stories, their habits, and the mind shifts they had to overcome to become who they are today. On top, you will get a chance to connect and see how you can overcome anything by networking and learning about your next move through this radio show. I present to you our great speakers at You Can Overcome Anything podcast show with your host, CesarRespino. Hello there, and welcome back to another episode of You Can Overcome Anything podcast show. It is your host, Cesar Espino, and today I have a special guest. Her name is Shannon S. Coulter. She's the creator of Planet Fassa, a screen-lite movement helping families reclaim imagination, connection, and real-world joy. She also coaches adults to break the chain to tech overuse, because when grown-ups come back to life, kids do too. She's the host of the Let There Be Joy, the podcast that offers three simple, practical ways each episode to bring more joy, presence, and meaning back into everyday life. Hello, Shannon. How are you today?
I am doing great. Thank you so much for having me, Caesar. I'm
Yeah,
excited to be here and talk to your lovely smiley face. It's good.
yeah, definitely. No, I mean, I'm excited to have you here. I definitely want to learn more about you. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your background? Where are you originally from, and how was your upbringing?
Yes, I was born in Chicago. Huge Chicago fan, even though their sports teams aren't usually good. I still am. I live in
Yeah,
Indiana now, but I'm still holding on to Chicago.
yeah.
Um, and I had an awesome upbringing. I really did. I was asked in another podcast recently what was one of my favorite childhood memories. And we used to go to upstate New York,
Okay.
where my dad was from every summer and just have an awesome time up there. And I'm one of four kids,
Hmm.
and I am just so grateful for my upbringing because we lived in a lake community, and I spent a lot of my time outside, which is really what is the background for everything I'm doing as an adult. But it was just great. I'm number three of four, like I said, and I'm grateful for the upbringing I had. I played sports and I did everything, not like today. Things are so singular today, but I got to play sports. I played instruments, I sang, I did everything. And so I got to figure out what I wanted to do. And
I
I
love
think
that.
that's really important. Yeah.
Yeah, that's one thing that as we're growing up, right? A lot of times the adults or people, there's that question like, hey, what do you want to be when you grow up, right? Like, what is that one thing? Do you feel like you fulfill your dream as a kid, to an extent, or what was that for you?
That's so funny that you asked that because I have no idea what that was. I think I'm
Yeah.
just as much the same as I was back then. I love dipping my toes in things. I actually was a communications major in college because, again, I didn't know what I wanted to do. So I was like, okay, I'll just do this. And then I became a consultant and I went to all these different companies and saw what they did. And then I continued to be on my own. Then I turned into an entrepreneur. I think, and this is going to sound so cliche, but I just like having fun.
Hmm.
And so if I can do something that brings joy, and I love getting other people to smile and laugh at themselves and just have a good time. So if I can do that, I think that's fulfilling my childhood dream.
Gotcha.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
No, I love that. And then, and you said something that I think is interesting, and it kind of goes back to one of the things you're doing right now, which is really helping grown-ups, come back to life and be a child and kind of to an extent, right? And
Mhm.
I often see that as a sign of, we as adults forget what it is to live, in my opinion. We're so busy working or so many different moving parts, right? That sometimes we forget about the little things, right? So the idea of you seeing people smile and enjoy life and be able to even the things you're doing that like I think that's huge, and we need more of that now, right? So tell me a bit more of that, because obviously it has and it's ingrained in you, right, to be able to do that.
Yeah. So I'm going to piggyback off something you just said. I think that adults always have such a burden on themselves to make the deadline, be be good at work, and it's becoming so hard. And then we added cell phones into our lives. I know there's
Mm.
Blackberries first, but then
Yeah.
laptops and then Blackberries and now there's cell phones and above and beyond cell phones. Now we have a computer in our pocket, right? So
Right.
there's never, unless we are intentional about it, there's never a time that we get to calm down, relax, be present, and play. And that is really wreaking havoc on us as a society because instead of being face to face, like you and I, even right now over Zoom, are more face to face than a lot of people are getting.
Hmm.
But a lot of people are just staring at their phones and then they're getting on social media. And you know how crazy that can get. And people are divisive and terrible. And I think so. There's two things. I think people are getting depressed from that, but they're also not moving around and not interacting with people. And it's just having such a negative impact on people. And then when you're walking around negative, you're going to be negative to other people. So I really, what really started this journey for me though was 18 years ago.
Hmm.
I met my stepkids. I'm a stepmom, and my kids are now 28, 26, and 22. But when I met them, they were 4, 8, and 10. And I was trying to be cool. And I told them to go outside and play. And they literally were back inside 5 minutes later and didn't know what to do.
Mm.
And so this was 2008.
Yeah.
And this is before the dawn of the smartphone.
Right.
But they had already been so overtaken by screens that this was already affecting their imagination, their play, and it really bothered me so badly that I left corporate America and started the journey to what I'm doing today. Because there were no studies about it back then, but I felt in my soul that this was not going to be okay. The fact that they were missing out on the thing I told you was my favorite part of my childhood. I was trying to set it up that way,
Mhm.
not
Right.
great, but like the thing I remember about my childhood so much was playing.
Yeah.
And I saw that they were missing out on that, and that made me sad.
Right.
Little did I know what we know now that it was changing their brain chemistry and all that stuff. And I have been doing this thing for a long time, but as I started redoing it, COVID kind of woke me back up to this, and I started going out and talking about helping kids get off screens. And as I started to do that, I was going on podcasts like this one, and so many of the adults said, "But what about us?"
Mm.
And that's
Yeah.
when I went from, yeah, I just know this is bad to really looking at like the neuroscience behind this and realizing it that you and me, even as adults, are having our brain chemistry changed because of these screens. And I just feel for us to be a functioning society, we
Yeah.
need to be more intentional for when we're on screens and when we're off being present with each other. And that is like my mission now.
Right.
Because and it sounds like, oh, fairy tale-ish. I want people to be happy, but we do need to be happy. We need joy in our lives
Yeah. Yeah.
because there's enough hard stuff coming at you that you need a foundation of joy and gratitude to make it through it. So
Yeah,
that's
and,
my
and
thing.
and I think part of that too. I mean, if you think about it, especially right now in today's society, right? I
Mhm.
mean, you have so many, everybody's on the a smartphone, computer, TV, whatever that might be, right? There's just so much noise, screen time, like you were talking about. I think part of the biggest challenge too, though, is not just so much about the screen time, is what people are watching and what people are seeing, and a lot of times with AI, I'm not saying it's negative, except there's a component though that now everything's fabricated, and sometimes you can't tell what's the real or not real. There's so much stuff. There's so much information, I guess, that sometimes might be perceived, and it is negative information that we're watching, we're intaking, we're programming our minds by doing this. And so I do believe that there's there has to be something done, and you're doing that. And I think there's something to be said about that too. Is there's so much distraction, so many negative things happening. It doesn't matter which way you turn. You pick up the phone, you
Mhm.
pick up, or your smartphone, or you pick up the TV or computer, whatever it might be, right? Social media. There's so many of those things.
Yeah, and you just hit a really good point there. It's not just the fact that you're on it, it's what you're consuming when you're on it. And I'm going to get the date wrong on this. I want to say 2012. I think that's it. But Facebook ran an experiment on 689,000 users, okay, without getting anybody to say that they could, which is
Mhm.
terrible.
Yeah.
And what they did is they put negative stuff in some people's feed and positive posts in other people's feed, and they watched and they found out they could manipulate how we feel. So the people they did the negative posts to started posting more negative things, and the people they did the positive posts to started posting more positive
Mhm.
things. So as you said, I mean, even if you're out there in AI now, I mean, gosh, this is 13 years later than that, AI can be manipulating stuff, and then your brain looks for what it gets used to something and it starts looking for that. So you're going to start looking for that negative content, and that then affects you in real life because when you're online all the time and you're like watching the comment section, people are fighting and they're like, oh,
Yeah.
going after each other. You are then that is what your body, your nervous system is getting used to, and you go out and look for that in real life.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that I think people need to know that.
Right.
So there's all those different components about it. There's the part, like you said, that you're watching negative stuff and it's negatively impacting you, but then you also can't calm down.
Right.
And I think your discernment goes down too, because you get tired, you're on there and you're just buying everything they're selling to you
Right. Yeah.
versus like sitting there and being like, is that really true? And
Yeah.
I say this a lot. We do not hate each other nearly as much as social media is telling us we do.
100%. I agree with you on that.
We
Yeah.
do not.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's another way to separate,
Yeah.
in humanity for that part. And again, I'm not saying there's nothing negative about it, except again, we have to see the truth and understand also the reality against that, right? And so
Hmm.
that's huge. Let me ask you this. I think part of what you did, was brave enough to say, hey, you know what? I'm gonna quit my corporate America and just kind of put time into this. Tell me a little bit about that because I do believe that sometimes we as people have to take what I call the leap of faith. Take that leap of faith on something that you believe, something that you want to do, maybe that dream you want to go after. It can be perceived in many different things, right? You might have a good job, except you're comfortable because you're making good money. You know that maybe there's a different calling for you. You can be doing something
Hmm.
different, except again, you're so afraid of taking that leap of faith, whatever that might be, or whatever the reason might be. Tell me a little bit about that experience. How did you prepare for it? Were you not prepared for it? What were some things you did to like say, "Hey, I'm gonna leave this, or I'm gonna be doing this temporarily and work on this"? Like, talk to me about that.
Yeah, it's a big, and I love what you said about a leap of faith. God can't blow on something if you don't prepare it.
Right.
You've
Yeah.
got to have something for him to blow
Yeah.
on. And that's a really big deal. So what I did, so I was in corporate America and the kids, my now husband, their
Yeah.
dad, I had said to them, in corporate America, Caesar, I was doing wellness programs. That's one of the things I did. And I
Mm.
found so much, I guess going back to this word again, but I found so much joy in that
Yeah.
because like before other things I would did was communication consulting. I teach people how to sign up for a PPO or an HMO. Woo, I mean,
Yeah.
it was fine.
Right.
But I started doing these wellness programs and they were called health incentive programs. And so people could go out and they could run a marathon or they could do all of these different things that were healthy for them through the company or on their own. And then they get points.
Mm.
And then they could cash in the points for stuff that the company would put out there. And people loved it. Lives were changing. And I said to my husband, like, oh, why can't we just grow people up like this? Why are we not telling them this is how they should be or could be so they don't have to work this hard? At that same time is when I met my stepkids. And so
Mm.
this whole idea was like, can't we just come up with a health incentive program for kids and grow them up this way? So you asked me like my husband is a brilliant businessman and thank God I had him. I probably wouldn't have done it without him. So
Yeah.
he was working and able to, and this is so blessed for me. He was able for me to be able to leave my job and I kept consulting, but like as a freelancer.
Yep.
And I started this and we had this 25-page business plan. I mean, we dreamed this
Yeah.
thing. I mean, we came up with all these characters, all these different things, and we just went for it. And
Wow.
like you said, it was a leap of faith. Now, we did have that I was freelancing and he was still working, but I'm a creative. He is like an operating guy. So it was just really great. We did get a coach.
Hmm.
And I would suggest anybody, if you're going to do something, find someone who's done it before you and
Right.
learn from them. The problem with me is I didn't listen to my coach. That's the
Right.
thing I
Yeah.
would suggest. You should probably listen to your coach.
Yeah.
So what we did, long story really short, and we tried to tell everybody everything about that 25-page business plan. You
Yeah.
need to go with one thing first.
Mm.
And you got to get people to buy in on that one thing because they don't know everything that's in your brain. And
Right.
you can, you think you know everything perfectly and you do, but trying to get somebody's attention in 10 seconds.
Right. Yeah.
So we did too much back then. There's a long story, but we put it to bed about 2012. We came out with the website right when apps came out.
Yeah.
Horrible timing. But I'm now here again doing it. And all that stuff I've learned over the last 18 years, I am so excited to be back. I'm more passionate than I've ever been. I now have 18 years of being a mom, which I
Yeah.
didn't have before,
Right.
right? And now all this research is out here backing what I'm saying. Whereas before people are like, oh, you silly
Yeah.
thing. I'm like, no, I think this is gonna be really bad.
Right.
So That's my other lesson to people. And I say this all the time, but if you don't stop dreaming about something, you're still meant to do it.
Yeah.
'Cause I couldn't
Right.
let this go.
Right. Yeah. No,
And
that's
yeah,
huge. Yeah.
yeah,
And I see one thing you have here, which I really like, says don't cover up your light. Let us shine and see what you can do. And that's exactly what you did, right? I mean, over the time, you
absolutely.
know.
Yeah. And another thing, and when I had written that to you, another thing that was going on, and I love sharing the story. And I told you I had a
Yeah.
wonderful, wonderful childhood. There's nothing bad to look on, but there was something that my family always said, everything's about you, Shannon. I'm like, no, it's not. So and I want people to hear me. I spent my adult life until about 7 months ago trying to prove them wrong.
Mm.
And so I was like, well, I'm going to do this thing, but I'm not going to be too bright about it. Like I'm just going to, I'm going to stay in the background. You know what? I am doing what God's will is for me, and I am going to do whatever I have to do to make that come to pass. And if people say stuff about you, no matter what you do, if that's what they believe about you, they're going to keep believing that. So don't worry about it. If
Yeah.
you're not doing something mean-spirited, just go with it and don't worry about what other people think. You can't let what people thought about you when you were a child dictate who you are now. You just
Right.
can't.
Yeah.
So that's what I meant. And I was at lunch with somebody and I told her the story and she said to me, and I just had met her. I mean, it was amazing. She goes, "How long are you going to hold on to that?"
Yeah.
Like a
Right.
punch in the gut. And I came home to my husband and I said, "I'm ready to take that light, the basket off my light." And he goes, "Finally."
Yeah.
And then boom, I just started running. So yeah, I think like just you have something that's inside of you that you were meant to do, that you are here to do to bless other people. Let it shine.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, and I love what you said, that the fact that that is huge, not letting yourself more than anything and understand that what, I'm gonna stop proving to everybody else. Like I gotta do this for myself, and the ones that want to follow, the ones that want to believe in me, great. And it reminds me of something that I find very interesting, right? But people always often say, hey, there's complaints and reviews about anybody and everybody, right? Nobody's gonna be ever be happy. And if you even go back and look at Disneyland or World Disney, right? There's so many negative reviews, and if you look at Trustpilot or Google reviews, it's gonna be a bad rating, right? And it's supposed to
Hmm.
be the happiest place on earth, right? And so that tells you something. Like it's gonna be very hard for you to please everyone, but I do believe that number one, number two, you have to understand that and realize that at the end of the day, as long as you feel deep down inside that what you're doing and that calling that you're doing is making an impact on other people, like heck, go out and do it, keep doing it. And the people that don't resonate with that, too bad, right? At the end of the day, there's other people that can really get that message and can really use the information you're providing and bringing in front of them, right? And I think that's the
Yes.
thing that we got to think about it. Remember.
I think that is such a good point. Part of the Planet Fassa, which is my
Mhm.
children's part of this, I have children's books. And oh my gosh,
Mm.
did I just go over? Oh, people aren't going to like this. Blah, blah, blah. You know what? It doesn't matter. It does not matter. I did the best I can do. And there are people who love them and there are people who don't care for them. And that's fine. Just like you said, you cannot please everybody. I like to use this as example. Yellowstone, that TV show that
Yeah.
people love. I can't stand it. I don't like it at all.
Right.
Right? And
Right.
that's fine.
Yeah.
Like I don't leave a review because I don't like leaving negative reviews.
Right.
But
Right.
right, and they're not going to stop producing Yellowstone because one person doesn't like
Right.
it. So I think it's really important for people, especially entrepreneurs who are putting stuff out there and putting themselves out there. Even your podcast,
Hmm.
someone might not like it. You shouldn't
Right.
stop doing it because
Right.
you have all these people who are going to watch it, and you're going to affect. Someone might listen to this right now and just needed to hear what we're saying.
Right.
So I think that's a huge message. And I think we need to stop comparing ourselves to other people and worrying about the likes and the clicks and all that, which goes back to the screen thing again.
100%.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
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 Sometimes it's good to kind of go back to the old days. Like again, being able to just go out and ride the bike or spend some
Yes.
time outside, right? I mean, literally. And I don't. You're right. I don't see that much. A lot of that now. I think that has died down little by little, and we need more of that for sure, right? And I
Yeah.
know that's part of what you're trying to bring here. Tell me about the books you've created, right? And the kids' book. Is that what age is that? Tell me
Yeah.
more about that.
So I'd say the sweet spot is 6 to 8, but I have 4-year-olds who loved it and 12-year-olds who loved it. And so what it was, I was talking about health incentive programs together. So I to make it as easy as possible, when my kids would come in and ask me what to do, I wanted to keep them off screens. But you're an adult, you're like, I can't keep coming up with stuff. And their imagination's muscle is small because they haven't
Mhm.
grown. So you're like, okay, you either get frustrated or put them back on, screens, or and then you feel bad about yourself. So I would go out, and this was again 2008, 2009. I'd look at Google, or I think Pinterest was around at the time, and I'd
Mhm.
be like looking up activities, and there's all these things to do. They're not organized. And so my consulting brain's like, oh, what if we come up with a website, now an app, but that has a list of activities that just can pop up for the parent. And when we made them, they're super easy because I wanted people not to have to go shopping, get all this weird stuff. And then we'll label them mind, heart, and body. So they're mind activities, heart,
Mm.
and body, so it's a full human. And then we'll put points to it. So if you've got a kid who you come home from work, you've got two kids, they're arguing, and you need a half an hour before dinner, but their imagination muscle, that's what I like to call it, is small because they've been on screens. You can go, you know what? I'm going to go out this app. You can say, I need a half hour. I need heart activities because they're not being nice to each other. Go. And
Ah,
our app goes like, here's 20 ideas. And if the kids are resisting, you go, well, this is worth 200 FASA points.
okay.
And if you get the FASA points, you can, and then mom and dad set up rewards for the kids.
Okay.
So it's an incentive program,
Got
but
it.
it's incentivizing kids to play. And the idea is the more you give them to play, there are other activities out there, but they're not tied to points. I wanted the points because I want kids to want to get the points, right?
Right.
But the more they do it, the more that imagination is growing, the less they need the app.
Got it.
And that was the whole idea behind it.
Yeah.
And it's Planet Fassa because I have seven animal characters that go
Okay.
with it. And they're the dogs and cats my husband and I have loved throughout our life. And so what I did with that is I wrote seven children's books, and I wanted the kids to read. The books have like awesome their activity, their adventure tales, but they've got like life lessons in them that I thought kids were missing from the screens. Like the first one, this is perfect for me, is persistence pays off. You got to keep going. And then I give
Yeah.
plot twists and hidden pictures and activities. And I wanted the kids to start doing that. And when they go on the app is for parents, but they get to pick, they get to have a profile, so they get their points. They get to pick one of the characters. And the
Yeah.
characters have all different personalities. We've got the goofball, the motherly one, the jock, so they
Yep.
can find one. So it's the whole idea is a whole ecosystem of things that keep kids off screens. And then the idea in the end, the 25-page business plan, is to have a screen-based program that when they are on screens, and this goes to what you said, I want them to be able to go into Cassie's world. Cassie's my scientist, and
Hmm.
they just go on there for half an hour, but while they're there, they're learning what a cell is. She's my
Mm.
scientist, like I said. And so it's like you said, if you're on there, what are you looking at? I think
Right.
our kids need to learn screens. They need to learn how to type, but
Right.
in small doses with educational content. So
Right.
that's the idea behind it.
Yeah, yeah. No, that's huge. And again, it goes back to whatever you're consuming. I always tell people you're gonna be consuming music, screen
Yes.
time, whatever that might be. In my opinion, my advice is that it has to be something that's gonna be serving you to become better, right? Whether it's
Yeah.
better at yourself, better at your trade, better at whatever you're trying to accomplish. But it's helping you with that, right? I mean, yeah, you can go out and watch something, just a family movie or something. Something's gonna be fun, but the majority of it, like that 80-20 rule, right? 80% of that
Right.
the stuff that you consume should be something that is helping you as a person grow and or helping your business or your trade or whatever it is that you're trying to do become
Yes.
better, right?
100%. And so I would say when my husband and I did put this together, we wanted the internet experience that kids were having with us to be like the Sesame Street of television. Like you're just
Yeah.
on there, you're getting something good, and you're nurtured. But I don't, like, a lot of people have pushed back like kids need to be on screens. I agree. I think it's screen-lite, the 80-20 is perfect, but 80% of their life should be outside, should be playing, should be
Yeah.
interacting because
Yep.
they need to do that to be successful human beings.
Yeah.
So that's the idea behind it. And Fasa, like, what is that? My main character was my cat Mufasa.
Ah,
Funny
okay.
that you brought up Disney. I
Yeah.
couldn't call it that. Disney
Yeah.
would have come after me.
Right,
That's why it's
exactly.
Fasa.
Right.
Yeah.
No, no, that's cool. So, so I love what you have going on for kids and obviously building this. You said something about earlier on, right? Then what about us, the adults? Like, what are you doing,
Yeah.
for the adults to kind of be integrated in this process to help the kids?
So what I found really interesting, so I had a bunch of people saying help us. So I put together this coaching program, and what I did is I went out and I started looking into the phones, and I am really frankly disgusted with what I found out. Like they are
Mm.
purposely designed to addict us. They hired a behavioral scientist to come in and figure out, like they looked at old rat, the rats that press the lever.
Yep.
They have all these, they use red dots, the notifications that are red dots because they
Hmm.
found out that it's the most urgent color and we can't help ourselves but to clear it.
Mm.
All the sounds are like Pavlov's dog. So it's all purposely engineered to keep us on there like a slot machine. I think one of the most interesting things I found out, do you know why people sit in front of slot machines?
Time goes by. There's no time, and I don't know. I guess they just
So this is okay.
yeah.
This was my first amount of research. It's not for the money. It's for something called invariable intermediate rewards. If they get one thing and they never get the same thing, and your brain becomes obsessed with the next thing. So sometimes they win, sometimes they lose, and your brain becomes obsessed. That's just like scrolling through your phone. So
Ah,
sometimes you get a happy post, sometimes you get something that makes you
yeah.
mad. You know what I mean? And they use that technology on us.
Ah,
Yeah, isn't
interesting.
that yeah,
Yeah, it is
so
crazy.
it's crazy. So I started figuring that stuff out and I said, you know, if I could just give adults the information about that, I show how big tech has mirrored big tobacco. They're
Mm,
doing the same things. They know what they're doing to us and it's money. I show about the algorithm. So it's the science. And then I give little homework and challenges. And this is the 4 week class. And I just give little things to do to show you, hey, this is what you can do. This is a simple thing you can change. I want you to see how much better you feel, and I want you to break the chain from your phone. So it's my idea is to help people turn the phone back into their servant versus it being their master.
mm, yeah,
So it's a 4 hour class. I do it over 4 weeks because I want people to get a little chance to do the little challenges in between because we build upon it. And like I
gotcha.
said, it's the science behind it. I show you the algorithms, which is even more maddening.
Yeah,
Um, and then I get into what's happening to brains, particularly children's brains, but ours too. And then the last week, I just give all sorts of different things you can try for yourself because it's hard. It's like when you go on a diet, right? It's very hard for people who go on a diet when the rest of the family's not on a diet because all the desserts are still there,
right.
right? You're going on a diet on something that you hold in your hand all the time you need to use. So we have to
Mm,
learn what it's doing and learn how to, like I said, become its master and be like,
yeah.
I'm not. So that's the idea behind it.
Got you, got you. Yeah, and I got it. And that must be, I would say, what is that saying? You can't teach all dogs new tricks or something like that.
Yeah.
So it might be, I could only imagine how difficult that can be for certain people to let go of those habits that have been built upon.
It's hard. I teach the class and I have to keep reminding myself. Just
Right.
having your phone by you even takes away, some of your attention. You've got to take specific steps, intentional steps about getting it out of your life. I mean, just like anything else you become unaddicted to. It's been great having people through the class because to me, the knowledge here is power.
Mm,
Because once you know that this is purposeful, it gives you a little different view on your
right.
phone. You're like,
Yeah.
okay, this is bad. Yeah.
Yeah. 100%. So you have all these great things. What's going on for you in 2026?
Oh, okay. So in 2026, I had mentioned earlier that we came up with that website back in 2012, and then the app
Hmm.
came out. So I am actually in the midst of finishing the actual app, and it should
Okay.
come out in March or April of 2026. And I am so excited about it. It's that one thing,
Yeah.
this many years later, I'm listening, but it's the one thing I'm super excited about that. I'll have some more books coming out and setting up getting more people through the break the chain course because I think the two really need to go together. I think adults need to understand what's happening to them and kids so that we are locking arms to be like, kids, you don't need to be on the phone because they
Right.
don't.
Yeah.
They really don't need phones.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right, right. No, I love that. So there's definitely been I think a lot of this things that you're talking about and the things you're teaching and or conveying the information to people. I think a lot of it comes down to your habits, your I think Tony Robbins refers to them as rituals, right?
Mhm.
What kind of daily habits? What do you have going on for yourself to keep you up and going and straight in this path?
Yeah, well, I'll give a daily habit, and it's one I give in my course too, because it's like so helpful. So a lot of people wake up in the morning and the first thing they do is look at their phone.
Right,
That could not be worse for you because you get sucked into somebody else's, what they want from your day.
right.
So I think the best thing you can do in the morning is get up and I call it 3 and 3. Say 3 things you're grateful for.
Okay.
And it can be anything. It can be you're grateful for your pillow because you just had a great night's sleep, right? You're
Mhm.
grateful for your shower that you're going to get into. So 3 things you're grateful for, and then 3 things you intend to do that day.
Okay.
And again, these don't have to be big, but I intend to call my dad, something like that. But
Gotcha.
it starts your day with intention and gratitude
Mm,
versus chaos and stress.
yeah, right.
And that mindset, your mind is where the battle is. And I
Yeah.
think if you can get your mindset right at the beginning of the day, you're golden. I mean,
Yeah.
things are going to still come at you, but you've started in a really great place. So that's been really helpful for me. The
Gotcha.
centering. Yeah.
So you said three things. So the be grateful, gratitude, intention. Is there one more?
Oh no, it's just three plus three. So
Okay, gotcha.
three
Three.
things you're
Got
grateful
it.
for,
Got it.
three things that you
Got it.
intend to do.
Okay. No,
Yeah.
that's huge, and I love that. Talking about the brain, I there's a an African proverb that I really like that says, when there's no enemy within, there's no enemy outside that can do you no harm, right?
Oh,
And so when
yes.
I listen to that, is really that, on the outside you have society, you have politics, you have all these
Mhm.
external factors, right? But in reality, that if you're good within, right? Kind of like what you're talking about. I love that the 3 plus 3. I think that's huge. You start your day with that. I mean, there's nothing that's gonna stop you, right? I mean, you have everything
Right.
that you want within you, right? And so I think that
Yeah.
that's huge. Yeah,
Yeah. What can man do to me?
yeah,
Right?
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
a hundred
really
percent.
important.
Yeah. So tell me, where can people find about your books? Where can they find out more about your coaching program? Where can they find you?
Okay, I am at sscoulter.com, so I will spell that. It's Shannon, like Sue S. So sscoulter.com. Everything is out there. When you go out there, you'll see the Planet Fassa. So that's all the kid stuff, all the books. You can sign up to know when the app is coming out. So excited about the app. And
Yeah,
then it says coaching. And if you go on there, there'll be different sessions you can sign up for. And it's live. But then if you miss the live session, you get the recording the next day. If you don't have
gotcha.
time or just would rather take it differently. I like to have it live so we can interact with each other. And then I haven't started yet, but there will be a podcast coming out, which I'm super excited about. And this will surprise you. But I have my guests give three things people can do to bring joy into their life. I got a three
Oh, I
thing for
love
you.
that. Yeah, yeah,
So all that stuff is out there. And I'd love to have people come and join this movement. I think this is a movement. I think it's going to be better for our kids and better for us and bring joy back into
yeah.
our life. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's huge. When you talk about the things you have coming up and everything you're doing, um, I'm sure like anything, right? We are facing challenges. We're going through a lot of different things, and there's a lot of ups and downs, and you're staying the course, right? So
Mhm.
let me see if I can get something from you in terms of another advice for the people that are watching us and listening to us. If they're going through any challenge, whatever challenge that might be in their life right now, what is one thing or a few things they can do to start overcoming that challenge?
Okay, so again, I'm going to go back to this, but it's so huge for me. Gratitude. Find
Mm.
the littlest things that you can be grateful for. And I'm not kidding. Like, I'm grateful for this breakfast I had because when you start small, that spirals into all these other things and you realize how many blessings you have. And I think it's so easy, and I do this too. It's so easy to look at all the things that are going wrong. But if you can just look at the little things, you realize how miraculous your life is. And it just starts to bubble up in you. And I just really think gratitude is a great place to be.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, I love that. Well, no, that's awesome. Well, Shannon, I really enjoyed our conversation. Anything else you want to share with us before I let you go?
I just want to remind people about the light that we said earlier. Like every single person listening to this podcast has something on them that God put in there for you to share with the world. Do not be scared to do it. He will meet you. You put it
Yeah.
out there, he will meet you. So that's what I want to say because don't bury it. It's
Yeah, no,
beautiful.
that's huge. I love that. I love that. And it goes back to one of the things that I tell people. If you're watching this, if you're listening to this, that means that God or the universe is not over with you, and there's a bigger
Yes.
purpose for you. So wake up to that purpose and make sure that you fulfill that and stay the course. Shannon, again, thank you again for being here. Really appreciate you being on the show today.
Thank you so much for having me. This has been great.
Definitely. And for the rest of you guys, do me a favor, please make sure that you guys share this podcast. Go ahead and connect with Shannon. Go check out all her material. And please share this message because somebody definitely needs to hear it. And I'll see you guys on the next episode of You Can Overcome Anything podcast show. Thank you.
Hi, I'm CesarRespino, real estate investor, business coach, and consultant, and author of the book, You Can Overcome Anything, Even When the World Says No. My number is 424-501-6046. In my book, I talk about making the necessary changes to shift your mind for prosperity and certainty. Pick up your copy at Amazon. I also love helping families with their real estate and can purchase your house fast and all cash. Follow me on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. My number is 424-501-6046.
Thank you for having me today. I am so glad you've tuned into this podcast. You can find me at your favorite podcast platform where you can like, subscribe, comment, and share. And to learn more about myself, my services, you can find me at www.CesarRespino.com, or you can also find me at your social media. Thanks for joining me, and I am looking forward to having you at the next episode. And know you truly can overcome anything.